What's going on, everybody? I hope you're enjoying your Friday night so far, late Friday night. This is NYG Jeffrey T85 here, and I'm going to talk about this wide receiver that the New York Giants, the Giants have added a wide receiver in a trade-up that they made today. The Giants traded all the way up to get wide receiver out of Tennessee, Jalin Hyatt. Jalin Hyatt, the speedster out of the University of Tennessee. And I have to be honest, I was not very high on Jalin Hyatt. I have to be real. Like some other fans are very high on Jalin Hyatt. A lot of people are saying that this dude could be, he's one of the most electric wide receivers coming out. And the Giants didn't really have to give up much for him. They only gave up the 93rd pick and the 128th pick overall. So they gave up a 5th round pick and they gave up their 4th. So they still have a 5th round pick ahead. But the one thing I will say, even though I'm not that high on Hyatt, because of the fact he's not as defined as a route runner, but the one thing that this kid has that he will add to the New York Giants offense is speed, and more speed. The kid ran a 4.4 in the 40-yard dash. He's only 21 years old, and he won the Biletnikoff award this past season. And I believe the only reason why he dropped is because of the fact he's not as polished of a wide receiver. But a lot of people are saying that this kid might have been the steal of this NFL draft. And the Giants, who are looking right now for a long-term answer at the wide receiver position, might have just gotten one of them in Jalin Hyatt. The kid had 67 receptions for 1,267 yards and 15 touchdowns back in 2022, where he was being unanimous All-American and the first volunteer to win to be an All-American since 2009 when Eric Berry did it. And Hyatt was looked at as one of the elite receiving talents in this draft and somehow lasted through the mid-round of the third. And Shane was able to go up and grab him, trading up with the Los Angeles Rams to get him. So the Giants fans are obviously very, very happy about the fact that they got them a very, very, very good steal at the wide receiver position. So we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. A lot of people are saying that this kid could be the steal of the draft. Deshaun Jackson's speed. You got to think about it. Deshaun Jackson, who was injury prone, was a lethal deep threat for the Philadelphia Eagles and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and at some time the Rams as well. This kid has got speed. He's electric. So far, he's going to be adding another dynamic to this wide receiver core that has a lot more speed than it did before. And if you include Darren Waller at the tight end position, now you got Jalin Hyatt, Parris Campbell, Darius Slayton. You have Wan'Dale Robinson. You have Sterling Shepard. You have Isaiah Hodgins, Collin Johnson. You have Jamison Crowder. You have a ton of wide receivers now on this roster, and including 3 guys that can run a 4.4, a sub 4.4 on this roster with Hyatt, Slayton, and Campbell. And all 3 of them have played the slot, but Hyatt is going to try to see if he can play on the outside because you have Wan'Dale Robinson, who's primarily a slot receiver, who's coming off a serious injury. So you're going to have to wait and see what's going to happen going into this season. Giants have a ton of playmakers now in this offense. Hyatt has the ability, if he can develop his route running, and I've mentioned it before, I would put this dude with route runners like Sterling Shepard to help get him to become more of an explosive, overall route runner going into the season. But the Giants have depth at this position now. You obviously brought in Crowder. You brought in Campbell. You brought in Jeff Smith. I forgot about Jeff Smith too. He's another fast receiver. You have a ton of guys. You brought back Hodgins. You brought back Slayton. You brought back Shepard. You already have Robinson on the roster. You have a ton of guys, including guys on the practice squad like David Sills, Khalil Pimpleton, and Mekhi Polk. You have a lot of wide receivers on this roster. It is going to be an extremely competitive battle at the wide receiver position. And right now, there's no defined number 1 receiver. But right now, I'd say Jalin Hyatt has the opportunity, if he's able to show out with the Giants, he has the opportunity to become the number one receiver on this football team, even being a third-round pick. But we'll have to wait and see if A, he can remain healthy during the offseason programming, B, he could become more of a complete route runner, and C, if he's going to be able to get, develop some type of chemistry with quarterback Daniel Jones going into the season. So we'll have to wait and see. But either way, the Giants have new speed weapons on this team now. Giants finished towards the bottom in terms of passing yards overall, 185.7. But now with Parris Campbell, who is an explosive player, who can play in the slot, outside, you can even run him in the backfield. Darren Waller, who's one of the top tight ends in the NFL. And now you add Jalin Hyatt to the wide receiver mix. So like I mentioned, what you already have, Giants are going to pass the football a lot more in 2023 than they did in 2022. Saquon Barkley, who is also on the, he's right now still on the franchise tag. He can be a receiving option out of the backfield. You don't have a lot of pressure on him. So this is going to be very interesting in terms of what Jalin Hyatt can do. And Hyatt is not a small receiver either. He has a small frame at 176. So you have to wonder about his frame. He is 176 pounds. But like I mentioned, he's 6 foot. He's got speed. And he's got decent hand. He's got good hands as well. And you can't catch speed. And that's what the Giants are banking on right now when it comes to Hyatt, is that he's going to be able to utilize his speed on the roster and be able to go out there and take the top off the defense and be in that deep threat. And you could essentially have Darren Waller, Darius Slayton, Jalin Hyatt, and Parris Campbell all split out as 4 vertical threats, and you can beat the other team over the top and just see which one of those guys is able to get open over the top. So like I mentioned, it's going to be an excellent battle at the wide receiver position. Like I mentioned, right now on the roster, you got Darius Slayton, Isaiah Hodgins, Collin Johnson, Jamison Crowder, Jeff Smith, Parris Campbell, Sterling Shepard. Now you got Jalin Hyatt, Wan'Dale Robinson, Mekhi Polk, David Sills, Khalil Pimpleton, and that's not even including who else they might add. Maybe they add another wide receiver later in this draft, and then of course you have undrafted free agency and whatever happens in terms of veteran free agency after we get past, the draft is over, and then you get towards, what we're going to be seeing in terms of the overall offseason training camp, if there's other moves that could be made. Not a lot of guys are going to be signed past the season. Now you got 3 wide receivers that are probably going to be here after the season, which Slayton, Robinson, and now you got Hyatt. So we'll have to wait and see how this is going to all play out. But either way, Giants add an explosive playmaker whom a lot of people are excited about, who somehow dropped to the middle rounds, and the Giants were thinking about drafting this guy in the second round before they draft the second round pick that they got. I'm going to talk about that next. I know I should have talked about it first, but I'm very excited about the player the Giants got in the second round. But just taking care of Jalin Hyatt, right now, the Giants got themselves a big-time playmaking outside receiver. I wasn't as high on him. I got to admit, I'm not as big on Jalin Hyatt. I was much higher on Tillman, the wide receiver that went to the Cincinnati Bengals right afterwards. Or, I'm sorry, the Cleveland Browns. I was higher on Cedric Tillman because he's a bigger wide receiver, and I think he's a better route runner. But if Hyatt can be able to, channel in on that speed, this could be an excellent pickup, an excellent late mid-round pickup for the New York Giants, and add to what is already a much faster wide receiver core going into the 2023 NFL season and beyond. So the Giants ended up selecting Jalin Hyatt, 6 foot, 176-pound wide receiver who won the Biletnikoff Award back in 2022 overall. And this guy is going to add speed and explosiveness to this Giants wide receiver core going into the 2023 season. Hopefully he can go out there and really perform at an extremely high level for the New York Giants in the 2023 season. So that's just my video I want to make for you guys. Hit that like button if you haven't already, and give a sub to NYGJeffyT85 for more news updates and chatter surrounding the New York Giants. Turn on the bell for notifications on the next video or short dropping on the channel surrounding the New York Giants. And you guys let me know in the comment section what you think about the New York Football Giants selecting wide receiver Jalin Hyatt with their third round pick pick number 73 in the overall draft after trading up all the way from pick number 79 to select the explosive playmaker out of Tennessee. Thank you very much, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your Friday night. Take it easy, and let's go New York Football Giants as always. Together blue, everyone.